It's finally springtime in New York State, and climbing season has begun. In this video, I continue making progress on my print, and I'll show you all the steps along the way. I make a few mistakes, but be sure to stick around until the end for some very exciting announcements. Now, let's get started. Alright, we're moving along on our print here. Currently, this is the stage that we're on. Last impression was this subtle purple and cool gray coming down here. Now, this is an exciting little block. We're adding some blue. These are the colors here. So we're adding like a sky blue and then like a second tone, which is more of a gray tone, which is coming down towards the horizon in the distance. And we'll do this top section here just twice to give it a little bit more pop. So, little paste, doing like a small dab of that and a small dab of that. It's always fun doing these reductive blocks because each layer brings out some new interest. It's very exciting. Every layer that's underneath influences the layer that's sitting on top. So this is a gradual build of tones. This is going to be the sky in this landscape print. You can see the blue tones coming through. And then up here at the top, I'm going to peel this paper back. Just get the top, portion there. For a little added pop. And there it is. It's hard to tell because this will all be rock feature. It'll be dark and or a warm orange color. And this section here will just be the sky behind the climber. So this is like black up here. So it's really gonna just be this strip here, about 1/3 of the sheet. But I'm excited about this impression because it's really starting to bring some color and some interest into the print. So we're going for some nice subtle atmosphere. So you can see, I'll compare the last impression and you can see how much it changes. So this is the last impression. You can see I introduced, first it was just all like a cool gray, like maybe 4 or 5 impressions of light cool gray. And then I introduced some color, purple color and some blue gray. And now next is this. So it's really interesting to see how these build up. So that cool purple color is underneath this blue sky hole color. These subtle value changes. So with these reductive blocks, you just have to have faith and trust that it's going to turn out all right. All right, I want to give an update on this block and this print. It's been a while. I'm probably on the 7th or 8th impression. And the next impression will be just this small strip of green, which will be the middle ground of this image. So here's the print, its current state. As you can see, it's a climber, and this section down here will be the grass going off into the horizon. You know, so far I've just been using white and, well, the white of the paper. So far I've just been using grays. So there's 1, 2, 3, about 4 values of gray. And then I did a value of like a purple color, and then 2 values of blues. It's going to be an interesting sky. Something a little bit different than what I usually do. But that's what this is all about. It's about learning and experimenting and trying new things. But it's kind of a gray, cloudy, overcast day. It's getting towards the end of the day. And then this big rock feature is going to occupy almost 2/3 of the print. So for this impression, I'll be working mostly in this area here. I left some of these pieces just as paper support for now. But this block is going to be, or this impression is going to be a brighter green towards the bottom, and then towards the top it'll get more of a gray green tone. I'll show you those colors here for a second. It's hard to tell in this light. It's getting towards the end of the afternoon, and we are in the first week of March in New York City. So it's actually going to be this brighter green tone at the bottom, working towards this more gray green tone. Give some depth. At least that's what we're going for. A little water. Use this gray, green, and the brighter one at the bottom. And do some paste. And it just adds a little bit of a green tone, and that ground plane starts to really come forward in front of the sky. Adding the green into this kind of starts to see the purple now and the blues, the varieties of blues that are in here. It's very subtle, but I think it's going to be a really nice sky. My son was watching TV in the background, so I couldn't include the audio for this selection. Here, I'm applying some camellia oil to the back of my Baron. This makes the Baron glide over the paper more smoothly when printing. This impression is a green gradation, so I make sure to brush this out smoothly. And guys, be sure to keep your margins clean. It's important. This is the print so far. Now let's take the impression. It's looking good. I decide to run it a second time to deepen the gradation color. And there we have it. Alright, here's the update on the print. We finished printing this gradation here at the bottom on the ground plane from a darker green and faded it up towards the horizon. And now we have one more impression on this bottom section. It's the details of the shadows, masses of the trees. There's lots of little intricate carving in here. So I decided to print a little transfer sheet here, and I'm gonna glue it down. And I just realized I did it backwards. So I gotta print that again. That's annoying. Made a mistake. But I realized up to this point I've been using a piece of graphite paper and just tracing the design from the front so I didn't have to use transfer sheets. And then the image appears on the block. But now, because I'm gluing a piece of transfer paper down, I need to put the paper into the registration, glue it down. So I have to flip now this image. So I printed this out realizing that I need to flip the image. So I printed out the correct version here. So as you can see, the climber is facing up in this way, and this one facing the opposite direction. So this would be fine if we were transferring from the front. That coincides with the block. But we're not for this time. This time we're gluing this image down. So I had to just simply flip the image horizontally in my Photoshop file. And now this will line up when I put it in the registration. It will line up with this ground mass. So now I just have to transfer. You can see my border. This is my paper edge line, and that's where I'll cut for registration before I glue it down. Trim this margins, and I can glue this down, and I can start carving after it dries. I'm happy with the progress of this print so far. It's starting to create some more atmosphere, and you're starting to get this nice gradation. This is like overcast day, kind of end of the afternoon. Sun's already behind the cliff. Everything will be in halftone or kind of in shadow mass. So it's an interesting light scenario that I'm going for on this one. But I kind of want this like end of the day, late summer feeling in this one. So we'll trim those edges and get this glued down. You know, I always check. I can just kind of fold the paper over there on the edge. And when I pick up this paper, you can see through. See how that crease? It is lined up right on the edge of the design. So I know that that's accurate. Now this is a reductive print. This whole process I've been slowly reducing by taking the wood away. So it doesn't matter so much with registration because this is gonna line up every time with the next print because everything is still in exactly the same place. So if this is off slightly, this image is off slightly, it doesn't matter so much at this point because it's a very organic shape and it's gonna be okay. So to get this glued down, I'm gonna need to put some glue right on the surface here, and then I'll need to peel up this corner here. So I'll start this little corner by peeling the backing sheet off just a little bit. So I can get a visual, hold that down, and I can peel the paper up. So let's get some glue on this surface. And the glue that I always use, Nori, Yasutomo repositionable, water-soluble, acid-free. Stuff works great. Not sponsored. I put a healthy amount on there. We let that soak in a little bit. Now it's time to glue it down. Hold on that corner that I started. Slowly peel. And there we have it. So this will be the next impression, and it will be the last impression for this bottom landmass. But you can see the perspective that this little textured area, you can see the perspective of the trees and the distance. So this is an important little impression, and it will be a gradation. So I'll probably print it flat once and then a nice solid gradation, making it very dark towards the foreground to coincide with the gradation that's already established here. So it's going to be another little gradation from the dark to this tone up here going into the distance. And that will finish off this back sky and middle ground area. After that, I'm going to start working on this figure, which I will be using a separate block for. I'll have to do a base tone, like a fleshy base tone, a couple layers, and we'll slowly build that up. But I'm guessing this figure will have at least, I don't know, 7 or 8 impressions within itself. So we're at probably, what are we here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think this is our 12th impression. So I've done 12 reductions so far to get to this point. So this will be either 12 or 13 impressions just for this guy. And you can see that it takes a lot of work, but with these blocks that are reductive, it's kind of quick because they're just small little sections. Like you take the impression, you take a little bit away. Impression. So it's kind of like every day I'll carve at night in the evening, and then I'll print the next day. So every day I'm printing another impression. So it does move along quite quickly. I like to work 2 prints at a time for the next set of prints for my upcoming solo exhibition that's this November at the Gunks, which is, this is the area that I'm depicting here, is an area where I rock climb. It's about an hour and a half north of New York City, and it's called the Gunks, but mostly people just call it, shorten it and call it the Gunks. And it's near New Paltz, New York. And I have a solo exhibition at the Visitor Center for the whole month of November. So I'm hopefully going to have at least 6 prints that are this size finished by then. But in order to accomplish that, I'm going to need to start working maybe 2 at a time so that I can get maybe 2 of these done within a month. I'll also have some oil paintings that I'm going to be working on this summer. I'll be doing some plein air painting outside, and I hope to have at least half a dozen or 10 or so paintings in this exhibition as well. So yeah, that's my goal, working towards that. And I'm happy with the way this is coming along. I think that distance is working well, and I'm excited to get this next impression cut and printed. So thanks for following along. As always, please follow, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.